Imagine it's your 18th birthday. Your dad announced he's selling your late grandparents' cabin to fund your college. But here's Hikar. The cabin is already legally yours, and your dad is robbing a dead. Do you stay silent, or is Mold a lie in front of everyone? Let's dive in.
The original post was titled, "My dad tried to sell my grandparents' cabin behind my back from Colin at my 18th birthday party. My dad stood up and announced he was selling my late grandparents' cabin to pay off his debts. He had no idea I had already legally claimed it at midnight. The next morning, my uncle showed up to the closing with forged documents, so this happened less than 12 hours ago, and I genuinely cannot sleep. So I'm just going to type it all out. Some background that my grandparents passed away a few years ago. They left behind an old cabin by a lake that has been in our family for decades. Nothing expensive, creaky floors, mismatched furniture, a dock that wobbles when you walk too fast on it. But I spent every single summer of my childhood there. My grandpa taught me how to fish off that dock when I was 5. My grandma kept a wall of framed photos she had been adding to for 40 years. That was the most important place in the world to me, and to them got my dad, Greg, and my uncle Wade, a real estate broker. I've been in serious financial trouble for a while. I didn't know the full picture because no one ever told me anything directly, but I could feel it. Holidays got tense. Wade started showing up more than usual. Anytime the cabin came up in conversation, someone would immediately change the subject. What I found out a few months ago was that the two of them had already been quietly arranging to sell the cabin to a real estate development company. No family discussion, no conversation with me. Just the two of them making calls and scheduling a closing date like it was already settled. What they didn't know is that my grandparents had spent years preparing for exactly this. 6 years before they passed, my grandparents set up an irrevocable trust and named me, just me, not my dad, not Wade, as the sole beneficiary. They told no one except their lawyer, a woman I'll call Mrs. C, and instructed her to contact me when I turned 18 and walk me through the entire process. Mrs. C reached out a few months ago. She explained everything, the trust, what it meant legally, and what I needed to do to formally accept it. She told me that once I signed the acceptance documents, she could immediately file a title lock on the property so that no one could transfer it without my consent. I turned 18 today last night. At midnight, I signed everything. Mrs. C filed it right away. As of 12 o'clock a.m., the cabin was legally mine and the title was locked. Then the party happened that my dad threw me a birthday party tonight. Family, neighbors, a few of my friends, round 30 people. It was completely normal for the first couple of hours. Then my dad stood up to give a speech. He talked about how proud he was, how fast I had grown up. Said he wanted to give me something truly special for my 18th. Something he had been working on for a while. Then he announced he was going to sell the family cabin and set aside a portion of the proceeds as a college fund for me. A birthday gift. People started clapping as he was looking right at me, smiling, waiting. I don't fully know what came over me. Something just came out before I could stop it. I said, "That's not going to happen. The cabin isn't yours to sell in front of everyone." The clapping stopped immediately. Like someone had cut the sound. That my dad laughed it off at first, told the guests I was joking. But I wasn't laughing, and I didn't take it back. And after about 5 seconds of complete silence, I think everyone in the room understood I wasn't joking. He pulled me into the kitchen, told me I was embarrassing him. I said I wasn't trying to embarrass anyone. I was just telling the truth. He lowered his voice and said that if I didn't cooperate and sign whatever paperwork he needed, he would cut off financial support for college and I could find somewhere else to live. I told him I already had college covered. He laughed at me. Actually laughed. Like I was a child making something up. I left. I've been at my friend's apartment ever since. My dad has called 4 times. My aunt texted saying I humiliated him in his own home and that I should be ashamed of myself. Here's the thing I keep going back and forth on, though. Legally, I was completely in the right. My grandparents planned this out years in advance specifically to protect me from this exact situation. But at that moment, I had a choice. I could have pulled my dad aside privately. I could have stayed quiet that night and handled it after. Instead, I said it out loud in front of 30 people and watched his face fall in public, so I genuinely want to know, am I the asshole? A few other things I would appreciate thoughts. Under 1, my Uncle Wade has a closing. Meeting with the development company tomorrow morning. Mrs. C has already locked the title, so the deal is going. To fall through no matter what. Do I warn my dad tonight? Or do I let tomorrow play out on its own? 2. Is there any version of this where I owe my dad an apology, not for being right about the cabin, but for how I handled the party moment? 3. My grandparents clearly went to extraordinary lengths to protect me from this. Does that change anything about how I should feel toward my dad right now, given that he is still my father? I'm 18 years old as of today, and I feel about 12 not too long. Didn't read. My grandparents secretly left me their cabin in an irrevocable trust 6 years before they died. My dad tried to announce at my birthday party that he was selling it. I said in front of everyone that it wasn't his to sell. He threatened to cut off college support and kick me out. Am I the asshole? Edit. For everyone asking, my dad genuinely had no idea the trust existed. My grandparents never told him or Wade. And yes, I knew about the closing tomorrow because Mrs. C had already briefed me on everything. She filed the title lock before the party even started. When I said the cabin isn't yours to sell, it was already done. He had no idea. Her response when I texted her from my friend's car, let him show up tomorrow, edit 2. It is 2 a.m. I cannot sleep. Still reading every comment. Thank you, genuinely. Going to try again. We'll update if anything happens in the morning.
So I really feel for the OP here. You're finally 18, it's supposed to be your big night, and instead of a party, you get a betrayal. It's heartbreaking that at such a young age, you have to realize your father sees you as a pawn rather than a person. Your dad's threat to cut off college support the second he will challenge. That tell you everything you need to know about his love. The guys Albie feels about the public's outburst is a side of a good heart, but honestly, you can't humiliate everyone. You can't humiliate someone with the truth. They humiliate themselves with their own lies. But all right, welcome Rest Crew. Let's get into the heat of it. The story in the definitions of play stupid games, win stupid prize. Did Dad really thought he could pull a fast one? Even laughed in when OP says college were already covered. Talk about a reality check waiting to happen. Uncle Wade is a real estate broker. He knows how the titles work. So how did he plan to sell a property that was locked at midnight? That smelled like a massive legal disaster. Always Lawyer told them to stay quiet and let the show play out. But I am 100% here for it. Frap your popcorn because the updes is where the legally reality hits its truth. Let's see what happened at the closing meeting.
Update. The next afternoon he said I would update, and a lot happened. So here it is. Wade showed up to the closing meeting this morning right on schedule. He brought a full packet of documents, including what appeared to be properly notarized paperwork authorizing the sale. The development company's legal team ran a routine title search before signing anything that my name came up. The title was locked, and when they examined the notary seal on Wade's documents more closely, it did not match any licensed notary on record in the state. He had brought forged documents with a fake notary seal to a real estate closing as the company walked out immediately. They are now pursuing Wade for $45,000 in damages to recover costs they had already put into preparing for the deal. On top of that, he is facing criminal charges for forging the notary seal, which carries serious legal consequences. His real estate license is effectively finished, but my dad sent me the words, "I hope you're happy." I didn't reply. I still don't know what I would say, so then Mrs. C called me this afternoon. She said there was one more thing she had been waiting to share until after the trust acceptance was fully finalized, that my grandparents had also quietly set up a separate education fund. Just for me. They had been adding to it for years without telling. A single person. The total is just over $58,000. I didn't say anything for her. Long time after she told me, that number, $58,000, is almost exactly what my dad announced at the party he was going to give me from the cabin sale as a birthday gift. Almost to the dollar. My grandparents did that years ago, quietly, without making anything of it. They just made sure I would be okay long before I ever knew I needed to be. I've been crying on and off for the past few hours. I don't think I'm done yet. I'm moving into the cabin. I don't have anywhere else to go right now. And honestly, I want to be there. I want to be somewhere that feels like them. I don't know what happens with my dad from here. Part of me is angry. Part of me is just really, genuinely sad. He is still my father, and it is not a simple thing to feel that to everyone who left a comment on the original post. I read almost every single one throughout the day. It helped more than I expected. The dock still wobbles. The wall of photos is still there. I think I'm going to be okay till long. Didn't read. Wade showed up to the closing with forged documents and a fake notary seal. Got caught immediately because the title was already locked. He is now being sued for $45,000, facing criminal charges, and losing his real estate license. My grandparents also left me a separate $58,000 education fund that no one knew about. Moving into the cabin now.
Well, I have to say, that detail about the $58,000 fund really got to me. It's just so powerful. It's that the grandparents were still there, reaching out from the pad to watch over Opie one last time. Think about it. They didn't just save the hell, they saved OP's entire future before Opie even knew it were in danger. They knew exactly what kind of people the dad and uncle we were, and they built a safety net that no one could freak. As for the dad and the uncle wig, well, they played a very risky game and lost everything. I guess that's what happened when you value money more than your own family. Making those fake documents was a huge mistake that ruined their careers and their reputation forever. It says, but it's just it. Now, all pigs is finally safe in that old cabin. I may have Ricky floors. It may have Ricky floors and a wall with dog, but it's filled with 4 years of love and family memories. And at the end of the day, that's something money can't buy. But this story leaves us with a really tough question. If you were an OP show, could you ever forgive your dad? Would you try to fix the relationship, or just the lies at the birthday party wreck your truth forever? So I really want to hear your thoughts in this one. So let's talk in the comments. If you enjoy this journey of justice and family secrets, hit the like button and subscribe to Popcornrest. Spread this story. It's really have the channel, bro. Thanks for watching. Grab your popcorn, and I will see you in the next story.